They're not too long.
You didn't want, I won't worry about what that says. Okay, I'm ready.
It's recording.
All right, fantastic. Welcome, everyone. 7:02. I beat Kevin's last month.
Say it again, please. I think I stopped it and started.
You stopped it and started? All right, now we're tied with Kevin's 7:03 for last month. I love it. All right. Okay, here we go. So I think this is pretty cool. I think it's worth reading, so I'm gonna read it. Our mission statement, that must be somewhere that Marie found. It says the Orinoco Parks and Trails Committee is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for all residents and visitors by developing, preserving, and maintaining safe, accessible, and sustainable parks and trails. We strive to protect and showcase the natural beauty of Orinoco, its green spaces, playgrounds, ball fields, and riverside areas, while promoting outdoor recreation, environmental stewardship, and community well-being. So I think that's pretty fancy. So we can do a call to order. So I am here, Katie Dudley. Justin Black, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, Lee Burgum, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, Kevin is absent. And Jeff, are you here?
Here.
Okay, and Dawn, are you here?
Yep.
All right. And then Jason Baker is not here. Kane Dolan is not here. Marie asked Ryland to come in her absence. So Ryland, are you here?
Yepper. Yes.
Okay,
Do I need to
All
make
right.
note in the minutes that she is absent?
yes, and that Ryland filled in for her. And Tara, I apologize, we don't have chairs out, but welcome.
Okay.
You're fine. I'm Katie, it's nice to meet you. Sorry I missed you last time.
But okay.
All right. So I do not, well, I guess we would do that in the public forum part maybe? What do you think? We could say who's visiting in the public forum part. All right. So, has everyone had a chance to look at the May 5th meeting minutes that I sent out? You able to see those, Dawn?
I have not seen them,
You've not seen them?
and it's not, I don't know whether it's because I missed them. What day did you send them?
I don't know. But they are right here.
Okay,
You wanna look?
I'll take a quick, thank you.
Yeah, yes. So I was absent last month, so Kevin covered for me, which was great. And while Dawn is looking at that, do you guys have anything we want to add to the agenda today? Anyone can think of?
Did you like whatever did the agenda?
Yeah, Marie did a great job, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. All right. Lee, did you get a chance to look at the May minutes?
Yep.
You did? And Jeff? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion or anything?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from May.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
second, all those in favor say aye.
I
Aye, pose same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I don't know that I have anything to add to the agenda, so. Yes.
Well,
do you have
just, I would
something?
say with the expressions of appreciation, the, I think it was Melissa and family who
Oh,
planted the
yes.
planters. And some hero,
I know,
or
right?
multiple heroes have really decimated, the garlic mustard in Alice Park. I don't know if they want to be
Okay.
known or we have suspects.
Right?
But, and I'll go down and, there's always gonna be a few stragglers that will pop up, but whoever did this really did a phenomenal job.
All right, fantastic. Okay. All right, well, today for our public forum, Ron Fuller is here and you're Tara Blumster. Is that how you say your name?
It is.
Okay, all right. And I'm not used to having a public forum, so if you're okay to visit when we do talk about River Park, you okay to wait until then? And then, Ron, you're here to see if we talk about anything with the highway and whatnot, right?
The highway?
Yeah, the fence by
Oh,
the highway.
Or why are you here?
Or do you have other things today?
no, had I commented on the fence in the past? I don't recall.
I think you've just visited with us about the DOT switchover land and stuff like that. That's all. Yeah, and the water trail. I think you're
You might-
interested in the water trail too.
Yeah,
You might,
because Lake Sumrall may, I think Lake Sumrall has had a representative on that, at least from time to time. I don't run with all.
Right, we have a stakeholder that we update on a regular basis, but when we have our stakeholder meetings or meeting notes.
Yeah, okay. So,
Katie? This is.
oh, hi,
Joy.
Joy.
Hi, if this is a good time, I'd like to speak on public forum.
All right, sounds good, Joy.
Okay, I have a couple questions about Garden Park.
Okay.
And I am wondering how often was it actually used for garden plots in the past? How well received was that? My comment is because that is a lot to mow and a lot for city staff to take care of. I'm wondering if a more efficient use would to leave it as it is, let the grasses grow up, use it for wildlife, wildflowers, and perhaps for birds. And wondering if just a walking path through that area, since it's by the river, would be more feasible than to just have a cleanly mowed area that people aren't actually using, and more staff time. So that is just my comments.
Okay, yeah, so I want to say, okay, how old is my child? Time is it? What year is it now? At any rate, I want to say we opened it up to city members like 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago. And I rented a plot and Lance had a plot. And then the year after that, Kane rented a plot. And that very first year, there was another family that was there as well. So it is accurate, Joy, that the garden plots have not been rented much. And then when the water and sewer took place the last 3 years, it was really tore up. Would you agree?
Yes.
And so now it's back to, I don't know, what do you think, Justin? I haven't been there for a while.
Well, last time I was there, which was about a month ago, I didn't see anything. I haven't been back for a while.
Okay.
Good.
You still have birdhouses out there, right?
Yes,
How many again?
I got 3 down there.
All right, so we do have 3 bluebird boxes down there. And I would suspect, do we need to maybe make a motion to have Public Works think about how much of that park they really need to mow? Is that what has to happen? Maybe
Well, you could recommend they review.
recommend
the
mowing
procedure,
less.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, for garden park, is that
Garden
right?
park. All right, so I make a motion to recommend mowing less area at Garden Park.
would it be helpful to be more specific, like mow half of it, or mow a quarter of it, or mow 3/4 of it?
I'm almost wondering if they have any requirements. Do they have requirements? How much they have to mow as a city park?
No, I think it's just a matter of keeping it look nice and not letting it grow up into weeds and flowers and stuff like that. I think it's just strictly a
Right?
direction by the council or
Maintain a
public
walking
works.
path of some sort, so they just.
Yeah, so, and right now, I believe the walking path that's in the woods is maintained by Boulder Dam Canoe. So it's not even really maintained by the city at all. I don't believe they go back in there, but we have seen some burn piles there in the past. And I want to say that we burned something this past winter over there. So anyway, but
There was a large pile, but it's been a bit, I think, since they.
Right.
But maybe they did over the winter as well.
so maybe we just wanna, I don't know how specific we have to be.
Is it something we should discuss with Kane before we make a motion to do it, you know, is it something that we can just email him about or?
Well, or we're just asking, will you please consider mowing less of it?
As I say, not even making a motion, just a recommendation.
Yeah, to reassess mowing priority at Garden Park.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, sounds good. And then if he wants us to do more, then we would do more. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so since I was too tired when I made our agenda, I did not fill in these item X's.
Katie,
Yes.
we have a message up there from the city's note taker.
Yeah.
Follow the live transcript of this meeting, or we can just
Interesting.
wait to hear you see the recording later on, I guess.
Okay,
Whatever you'd like to, I don't know if it's a distraction, I've never seen it and used it, but
so you wanted me to tell it to do closed caption? Or something wants you to save that we're speaking English.
it didn't switch to a different language, but.
One microphone is picking up all of our different speaking patterns, so it doesn't know how to write it all down. Who knows? Who knows? That's fun.
Just continue on.
Shall we keep going?
Yeah.
Okay,
Katie,
yeah,
I don't know if the closed captioning that I'm reading on my computer is different than the closed captioning on your note taker, so that is something. And then also with your motion, I don't think you had a second and a vote on your motion.
We're not gonna,
they decided it didn't need to be a motion, we were just supposed to recommend it to Kane, I guess.
Okay.
But thank you, yes, that is true. And no, I don't really know how to deal with this AI thing.
we should get some training on it. Somebody talk to us about it.
Yeah, so, okay. I think most of us have this in front of us, right?
Yes.
Whether it be online or in front of you. So let's visit about those things and then if I have some things in here to update at the same time, we could, but
We never did approve the agenda, the current agenda.
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Lee. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. Motion carries. I don't like doing that part.
Am I able to see the agenda online or is this like an internal agenda?
I think I sent it to you,
You tricked me.
It was me, I think.
just tonight though. Or I guess I only sent you the, yeah, do you have some there, Rylan?
I printed off a couple extra copies, so.
Perfect, thank you so much.
If you have an extra copy, I will take one.
All right, so this was something that Marie put together to help us visit during our meetings. So in 2025, she has done that Riverwood and Orinoco Trail estimates have been requested. And when it says in progress, my update is that Joe Palin will be working on a cost assessment for that. So that was approved at City Council in May. And then community engagement events host 2 community park cleanup and planting events. So that's the first I've ever seen that. Does anyone have any comments on that one? It's a good idea.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Katie, you remember seeing those stuff from Jason that went out to all committee chairmen
For the budget meetings?
for the budget discussion,
Yes.
answering the questions.
Do you want me to review that
Well, I think it
before we
kinda-
go over this?
Kind of complements what
Okay, what
Marie
Marie
did.
set up, okay. So,
it's a discussion, item discussion list that it raises just questions for discussion, not necessarily you have to answer every question, but just kind of gives you a flavor for what the topic is about.
so the reason we have these divided up into the different time frames is to become prepared to produce a 2026 budget. And the city of Orinoco is pleased to announce the start of a series of upcoming council workshops. And so that's what we're looking at here. And key discussion items for our group would be, what is your committee or department responsible for? What falls within and outside your domain? Are there areas of overlap with other groups that need clarification or collaboration? How has your scope evolved over time, and what changes might be needed moving forward? And then a mission statement of what is your committee setting out to achieve? What do you want the public and city council to understand about your role? How does your work contribute? Do I want to read this whole thing? I just said that out loud. Joy, do you have this? You wouldn't have this, do you, Joy?
I don't believe so. I just went to the council and department.
Yeah, I don't have what you're reading, but I'm understanding what they're saying and yeah, they're just kind of planning for the future and they want to know why you're planning, I believe.
Yes. Yes, so, I don't know how much we'd be ready to visit with council would it be June 16? No, June
Well, I think
17? June 17 would be the next one, or no? Budget, and these meetings happen just before?
right, and I'm not sure what's scheduled this month for June. I don't think Jason's identified what the schedule is,
Right?
depending on the responses from the different committees, I don't know.
Okay.
But I would just know what Marie had put together in your agenda
Yes,
and reflects the 1 year,
3 year, 5
3 years,
year,
5 years, 10
Okay.
years, also. And I think she took the discussion that came out of the May meeting
Okay.
and started to put them into a description. And I think the letter from Jason just kind of, you look at the scope of the group. It's a Parks Committee, 6 members. You overlap other groups, maybe with age friendly. You work with Public Works, that type of thing. And then if you look at the mission statement, which is in Jason's, you Marie put together a mission statement, which I think is pretty, a good summary of the committee too, so. I think
yes,
it's just a matter of kind of talking through or discussion of your growth goals, 1, 3, and 5, and those are in what Marie put together. I think it's just a matter of,
So did those items in the description column, did they come out of our meetings? I mean, I recognize some of them, but not all of them.
Marie just took the discussion points from the May meeting and put them into this format.
From the Parks meeting.
Right.
Okay,
But new to this though, so is this something that has kind of just started on all these workshops? To kind of get
Yes.
everybody under the same understanding of what's going on?
Exactly. So what's happened in the past, and hasn't been very structured, but we do a lot of this when we're in the council in the August and September meetings. But we have not as much input as we would like to have from the different committees. And council members are making the decisions. Now we'd like to have this, these workshops from the committees kind of helping with an inflow of the material coming to the council. So that's why Jason put this letter together, went to Parks, went to Water and Sewer, Fire Department, Public Works. So we'll be presenting this information to the council. We didn't have one in May, but we're gonna have one in June and maybe have another one in July too. But the idea is to get information from the committees into the council.
Better representation of that's gonna enable us to do more of this possibly. At least they're gonna be informed.
Instead of being just next year, we're looking at 1, 3, 5, 10 years, just to kind of get perspective. And we'll continue to follow up as we go year after year, so something we haven't done really structured wise that we need to do. So it's a good thing.
Another hopefully quick question. These topics, are they looking like specifically, is this just to stoke our description, or would they like answers for these specific questions? You know what I'm saying? Are they looking for specificity, or these are how
I
we?
think it's up to the committee. I think if you want to put more specific items in these descriptions, I don't.
Okay, but I mean, are they expecting, answers for each of these, or is this, you know what I'm saying? Are they?
I think this was like thought guidance,
It's,
directive, like kind of.
To inspire,
Yeah, inspiration, pardon me, that's the better word.
Thank you.
Yes.
I got it, thanks.
I don't think they're looking for, these are just individual topics to kind of generate conversation about these items, so.
Thank you, yeah, good idea.
So I think what's missing in here, well, or does it come later? No. So there isn't anything in here about adding a basketball court or anything at Memorial Park. And I think that might be something that we're waiting for the park audit to help us with that.
Yes, that's a good point. And the Survey Monkey that's out there right now, I think she said there was 31 or 35
35.
responses.
Yeah,
And she's going to try and summarize those by the end of June to consolidate the feedback into the key themes.
right.
That's what you have to resend to the committee, so.
Yeah, so these are kind of more in general versus anything park specific. That's what I'm noticing. So,
And then Marie's. It doesn't look like Lee saw it or Dawn.
are you looking at the email she sent me?
Yeah,
Okay, why don't I just say that right now?
I can make copies.
Well, it's okay. You want to make copies?
Here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're sneaky and have a printer in there. Okay. I can wait for that for a second then. But Marie recommended that we focus on aligning around our 1, 3, and 5, and 10-year goals to prepare for future conversations with city council versus, just sending stuff each month, without having like a far outlook. Let's see. And then she requested that maybe we would want to discuss the addition of a dedicated budget line for Parks and Trails, because supposedly that is not a thing right now, so that would probably help us out to streamline efforts in the future. So that on that, does anyone have any comments on these timeframes? Different goals here. Or I move on to the next thing. So the regional park partnership, I wonder if that kind of goes under the Zumber Water Trail, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, do you guys want to discuss these timeframes any further today or just kind of breathe it in?
So for 2025, these have already been budgeted for,
No,
but are they supposed to, but I thought the budget.
it's just like things that we've been working on the most.
Things
Yes.
that we've sort of talked about, and that we've sort of discussed in the past couple meetings. In a very sort of broad paintbrush stroke.
I know with the, having Joe Palin give us the estimates, we were looking into, age-friendly, giving us those funds for that. So that's kind of, I guess, been talked about as far as budgeting for this year.
Do you think Joel will do Orinoco Park and Riverwood Hills or just Riverwood Hills? What did we ask him?
It was supposed to be the trails.
I did talk to Joe today and he's gonna try to have something at the July meeting.
But he is doing both parks.
I believe so, yeah. I didn't ask him
I believe it was
specifically.
for the
Okay.
entire Riverwood Hills Park and Orinoco Park's trail or paved
Okay.
path to the picnic area or the enclosure.
Pavilion.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. The reason that Estes Lane Trail was paved, was that because of construction or because it had already been? I think, well, the main thing is that was not gonna be a part of the construction or something like that, right?
Right, it's something we've always been wanting to do, for a lot of years, and this was one start of that project to do the path, that wasn't affected by the sewer, that's why it stopped where it did. Because we were connecting to those drain fields that are to the south, and so that's why we didn't extend it any further than that, so it wouldn't be affected by the sewer project.
Cause that
But
was,
that is all part of all the trails being paved in Riverwood Hills.
was that CIP? How did we pay for
I
that?
don't
Do you remember? I don't
what
remember
it was,
either,
yeah. It was about 65,000, something like 70,000.
right?
But it was a little more expensive because they had to put, it's all grass, so they had to build up with rock. And whereas the rest of the paths are all rock right now, so it might be something less than that to pave.
And that's what Joe's looking into.
Yes.
All right.
One more question, so does it behoove us to attend now this workshop? To focus on these 25 issues? In order to get our point across, maybe that's what I wanna say, that we kind of start pushing this. If we don't attend, we might get the feeling that, oh, they're not interested at this point, and let it go again. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's a lot of visibility in wanting to do that. It's been
Okay.
something on the board for many years, and myself wanting to get it done. So the workshops, I think, are open to the public, of course. It's just a discussion. There's no motions, there's no actions, just talking. And I'm sure, Katie, if you can come to that meeting, that would be very good to represent the Parks and Trails Committee, but anybody else could come too. So
Is it at 5:30?
5:30 else, yeah.
Okay.
But what we need to do, I think what the committee needs to do is have something to share with Jason coming out of this meeting tonight or within a couple of days, having something documented would be ideal. I'm sure Jason would appreciate that.
So it is of my opinion to make a motion to bring to the budget meeting, our most urgent ones, which would be the trail paving and those two parks. And, well, I guess it's three things. Exploring, adding, a court to Memorial Park. I would have no idea how to cost estimate that. And then, we're still trying to decide what to do with the tennis court at River Park. I think those are our three hot topics right now. And does that sound about right or no?
Is this for the workshop? You wanna bring these to the workshop?
Yeah,
The 1, 3, and 5, 10 plan that Marie's put together looks fine. Squeezing, resurfacing the River Park tennis courts and adding a basketball court to Memorial Park would probably fit more well in like a 5-year scope. So if you could add those to 2030, and then we would just put concept phase. I suppose those would be under, but we'll certainly have to look into funding, and maybe a 5-year plan is a little too ambitious for a full-scale basketball court at Memorial Park.
I would call it ahead, just get it out there in front of her.
So 3 years perhaps?
I think we're gonna need, Orinoco Park, I think is in need of some new playground equipment. It's
Okay.
gonna be like, I'd say like maybe a 3 to 5 year. We're gonna be upgrading some things and adding some things, but I think some of the parks equipment's getting a little dated. I know the River Park borders playground borders are starting to rot out pretty
A little
good.
bit.
You know, so there's stuff like that that needs to be replaced.
What- And I guess I'm still not sure how the calendaring works and the strategy or but that doesn't matter. My question is, would we also want to, I think every year we ask like for money for the planters. And so would that be in here?
Well, I think that's the 1, 3, 5 year 10, that's something we can get in for the 1 year plan, probably, add a line item,
So
like you said.
every year when we sort of agreed that every year we'll asking for money for the planters.
Yeah, getting a line item for Parks and Trails Committee on,
It's not necessarily, to me, like, we're gonna do it every year, why are we requesting it every year? So a line item means you don't need to request it every year, that it's already budgeted?
I'm under the assumption that that is the case, where Parks and Trails Committee is just allocated a certain amount.
And we can spend, yeah, because that makes sense, why, to me, it doesn't make sense that every year.
As long as I don't know a lot of the ins and outs, so check me if I'm wrong on this one, Skip.
No, it's, and that kind of, within the 100 budget for all of them. But, that's something we ought to talk about sometime, is just print out a line item of everything that's under Parks and Trails or Parks.
Yeah.
So if the committee can review that, and I would encourage you to look at it in July, because we can print out year to date, we get it in the council packet. It's shown in the council packet, all of our monthly meetings of all the departments, all 100 funds, so.
I mean, it just seems like for those that we can do annually, it seems a better use of time and not sort of asking council, well, can we do this again this year? We do it every.
I always thought we had a line item for trees.
I thought we had one for trees and for plants.
So maybe,
It's recreation, miscellaneous equipment, that type of thing.
and then the other thing that I brought up, I think it was last month, maybe the month before. We talked about a prairie burn and then there's like, oh, it's too late for a prairie burn. I know enough about prairie burns that you need to plan well in advance. I believe it's gonna cost money. And if we don't say prairie burn, and this is just like a passion of mine, I'm not saying prairie burns are more important than anything else. I'm just saying here's a passion that I feel hopefully I can bring some value to this. A prairie burn will probably cost money. We'll need some planning. We probably need to get it set up by like December for the spring, a team agrees to who's gonna do what, who's the burn boss, who's the volunteers.
I'm being naive. What money is it gonna be if the fire department wants to use it as a training exercise?
Then I guess do they still want to use it next year?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, will they need any equipment from this? There's gasoline, there's water, there's.
right, the drip
tank,
torches and
Right,
stuff,
what money do they need?
right?
But even if are they kind of agreeing to do this like every 5 years?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, they wanna be prepared in case something catches fire somewhere else.
I know insurance, if it's done privately, insurance is huge on prairie burns.
Yeah,
And I don't know if they've already covered insurance, if we would need to buy insurance, but that's,
I know they've contacted DNR for a plan, I believe. So I don't know if that's something that they would provide, insurance, but provide like, here's what we need to know, here's what it may cost. And then maybe the fire department would have that information.
from my experience with prairie burns, because of the weather and because there's few burn bosses and few volunteers, I'm gonna exaggerate, but 99 out of 100 times a prairie burn is requested, I feel like 95 of them are no, because we don't have time. So what I'm trying to say, if we really want to do this, we should sort of start now for next fall and be prepared to, if they need a budget, what's the budget? If they need,
so I can ask
and
the,
I didn't know if
I
that's,
think the intent of the fire department was for training purposes. So that's why they approached us about doing a prairie burn for the drain fields that are located over Riverwood Hills. That's the only area that's been discussed about doing any prairie burn.
is it pronounced Johann Sonnenberg? Or
He's a
Johann?
training officer, yes.
Johann or Johann?
Johan.
Johann?
Yeah.
Okay, so Johann messaged us on May 6th.
Mhm.
And he said if we wanted them to come back to visit with us again, that they could do that.
I'm guessing like next October, November, December would be
Yeah,
a
he
good
goes,
time.
he says, so for now, he says, wait until you hear from me in the fall. Please continue to discuss this and other ideas in your committee. If you ever need a fire department representative to come to a meeting to discuss items, we can have people do that. So
Could
when
you-
would you want, what month
Well,
would you want
and,
that?
well, or in the meantime, ask him, is this gonna be a completely complimentary service, or would we be buying equipment or gasoline?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask them if they need.
I'll
any
kind of
equipment.
inject,
Yeah,
and 12 years ago, I was on the fire department up in Northfield. And
Nice.
anytime we did a burn, we covered everything. Cause we're liable, no matter what it is, we're putting our neck out there. We can't say, well, you told us you'd have insurance. No. We had
Well, that'd be good to
insurance.
confirm, I mean, and
I'm
I'm,
sure they have to. I'm sure they're gonna have
I'm
to.
more, I guess, concerned like not having next year in May saying, oh, too late. I will grow more gray
Oh,
hair.
yeah. I think that's where the line item comes in at. If we got $5,000 on a line, we can sit down in December and say, you know what? We need the planters. That's gonna take this much. We need to do the burn. If we gotta spend, it's gonna take this much. Oh, now we got $1,000 left to spend the rest of the year. What are we gonna do with it? Then it's up to us to write our
And the
checks
trees,
out.
and I'm sure, yeah, it would be good to see the list, just, you know,
Yeah, it
what,
would be.
The issue is we really never know what our budget is.
Right.
and then we are asking sort of for everything. I feel like we're asking for everything, and I don't think that's a good use of our time or their time.
we've seen the budget before and it's
It's
confusing.
confusing.
The thing to consider is that it's a fire department function and operation. The fire department, maybe your suggestion be would to the fire department to include a fire burn in their budget too. So they can cover the expenses.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah,
training
good.
exercise.
Yeah.
Or make sure it's included with some other line item that's in the budget now for next year.
right. He's gonna look and see if he has some of the old budget things that we've looked at, but I did just send a message to Johan. Asking him if they would have any equipment they would need to get and if they would have to get any more
And,
insurance.
or if they cover it, which would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think so, Katie.
that's okay. No worries. Okay. Let's see, where are we at here?
You were actually making a motion to bring
Oh, yeah.
trail paving. You know, what else was it?
Court resurfacing and court installation to Memorial Park.
Court resurfacing and
River Park, yes.
But then the biggest thing really is in the meantime, what do we do this summer at River Park? And I believe, so the update that I got from city council was that it was tabled because Kane wasn't sure. What does this say here? Hang on, just give me 1 second. Now I gotta get back there. Or wait, you have it printed out, Rylan. What did she say about River Park in that printout that you just made for everybody? You're so sweet, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so what Marie said to us about pickleball lines was that there was a discussion regarding painting pickleball lines on the tennis court. The conversation was tabled with a suggestion to revisit it in the Parks and Trails Committee. Given the current condition of the court surface, we should consider whether to invest in painting lines or resurfacing the court, or potentially selecting an alternate location. And what Marie sent was something about tape. Did you see
Right,
that?
so in our council discussion, we talked about the alternatives, and one was a short term would be, you can buy these striping kits with tape and tape it down. You put a pickleball court on either side of the tennis net. And so I believe Kane was looking into that, so I'm hoping Kane will have a response at our June meeting of what he found out. That's a very short, year by year direction, I guess, is one item.
So.
The court's unsafe, you know, the comment was made about the court is not smooth, the court surface, I guess, and I see it does hold water in one spot on the north side of the net. But I never played tennis or pickleball down there, so. Tara, have you played?
I was actually just there, the other day with my daughter. So I took my blower and just blowed the water, so it, you know. The lines are stiff still there. And so I would say that, like, if we're looking for short-term solutions, painting lines would last, you know, a year or two versus the tape. If you read the reviews on Amazon, somebody's like, hey, I put it down, it rained that night and it started peeling. So as soon as like one little piece starts peeling, you lose everything. And because the cement is rough, it's not like a nice smooth cement. The finishing wasn't probably ideal for tennis or pickleball. That I think that could impact the tape staying down. I did look up, you know, how much court paint would cost, and a 5-gallon bucket is $107 at Home Depot. And it would take, it's 880 square feet for a pickleball court, and it takes, you know, roughly 2 to 2.5 gallons of paint for one court. So you could either just try it out on one court and put 2 coats, and maybe those coats might help smoothen the cement a little bit, kind of take away some of the edge of the cement. So then you have a 1-year plan, you have a court that people in Orinoco could play on this summer, and then look into future plans of maybe resurfacing, you know, put that in the 5-year plan to resurface it, or put more towards the other, like a new court at Memorial Park, or kind of a true pickleball court. You guys had mentioned, you know, you don't really know how much it would cost to put, you know, the basketball court Memorial, where you'd start with estimates. I don't know if you guys have any relationships with the Pine Island Parks Committee or what they have there, you know, because they just put in that pickleball court. Obviously, they have the ice rink boards around it. That probably added to their costs, but you might have a better idea of costs for the full thing. You know, I'm just kind of selfish. I just want a pickleball court down the street from me.
I just looked out the window
Yeah.
and there's cement there.
Yeah. And and really, like, I guess it's more, you know, I think there might be enough people in Orinoco that would want a court or that want to come play, that you could even request, you know, volunteer help to paint it, you know, kind of like with the weeds.
We haven't talked about painting the whole surface, just the
I
striping.
know I'm throwing that out there now.
That could be, that could be one of the
I'm throwing it out
community
there now.
park,
It's big.
that could be one of the community park cleanup
Engagement.
days, engagement day, yeah. That'd be a great way to get community engagement. Anyway,
All right.
a quick question, how often either tennis court or pickleball, I mean, for the long range plans, how often are they usually resurfaced or redone? I mean, do they last 10 years? Usually, but once it's done or resurfaced, is it redone every 20 years or redone
I
every?
don't know about resurfacing or even painting.
But if it's all crumbly,
Well, the court isn't crumbly down at River Park.
okay,
It's a very rough texture.
okay. Is that due to age and erosion or?
No, I just think whoever paved it didn't pave it as like a nice,
Got it. Okay.
smooth finish.
It also
Has been
floods
flooded.
every 2 years.
Yes.
That
Sandblasted.
doesn't help.
Yep. Mhm.
It was probably done 20 years ago.
When it was paved,
Yeah,
I didn't even know the development was that old.
I don't know. And that's when the development started, so I'm not sure when exactly it started.
Okay.
Trying to find.
I apologize because I have to backtrack a little bit. I want to make sure we have those 3 things that we want to tell Jason we'd like to talk about in June. And so I think you've got it good.
Yeah, you motion to bring the trail paving for Riverwood Hills Park, Orinoco Park, court resurfacing in River Park, and then basketball court installation in Memorial Park to the workshop.
Yes.
One comment about the Orinoco Park. You mentioned the path trail down to the playground.
Not to the
No,
playground,
just the
just to the
pavilion.
pavilion,
Sorry.
to the pavilion, to the
Oh,
shelter.
That's,
Yep, I was talking about that,
hopefully, yeah.
that playground equipment will need replacement at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I make a motion that we bring those ideas to the budget workshop.
I second that motion.
Jeff silently seconded it.
I wanted to, I don't want to be the only one seconding.
I'll provide the audio.
So Don seconds.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries, that we can bring that to the budget workshop. And then short-term wise for River Park, I will reach out to Kane and ask him to give us, some good information as to what we can expect for this summer.
Okay.
Real quick on that motion, do we
Yes.
want to use so 1 year, 3 year, 5 year kind of goals for those, or do we all want them for next year?
We want them whenever we can get them.
Okay, so that we'll just talk about them and then kind of
Great.
discuss at the workshop where they kind of fall in line.
Yes,
Okay.
and I believe what's gonna have to happen, so if you can write it up in a little bit, I'll have to run it by Jason to ask if that's really available for June 17th. And then I don't know if anyone else can come June 17, but I'll let you guys know about it.
Yeah.
If you can come, that'd be great.
5:30?
I believe so. I'll be late, but not that late. Okay. All right, so I'll reach out to Kane. Well. I think there was
Is that
two
for sure,
things.
June 17th?
Is that the next meeting, the workshop meeting would be June 17th,
That's what's
right before city council?
5:30, 6:30, right?
All right. Okay. Okay. What was it like the other day playing pickleball over there?
Well, I was with my 7-year-old, so it wasn't a true game.
It wasn't serious, right?
No.
But the backstop is still a mess, right?
It is,
That
yes.
hole hasn't been fixed yet. And sometimes I think, well, it's wrong of me to say, but maybe not. When you call City Hall, it gives you an option to call Public Works.
Okay.
And I would imagine it probably just end up being leaving a message. But I don't think it would hurt, you know, if you call and ask for that, if someone else calls and asks for it, I call and ask for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, then they might be able to put that higher on their priority list.
Okay.
Wouldn't hurt. Okay, right? Okay, where are we at? Should we move on to each individual park? Even though we talked.
Unless we want to look further down the line on the 1, 3, 5, 10-year plans.
Oh, right.
Figure out anything else on those that we'd like to see.
Anyone have anything they want to add on here?
I think we should, at least probably 3 years out, look at some equipment
Oh, yeah, playground equipment.
installation, yeah.
Joy, did I send this to you? I think I did. With the May Park minutes. Oh.
Yes, the agenda, yes.
Okay, so you have this with all the different things?
Yes, I do. The 2025, 2026.
Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, so playground equipment we would look at for 28. Okay. All right,
It's Orinoco Park
Yeah, I mean,
specifically.
it's just,
Yeah, I was over there with my kids. I get it.
yeah.
I get it. It's
You know, I know, like I said, River Park, the borders are
starting to rot.
getting bad. You know, we talk about upgrading all of our picnic tables to those nice steel ones.
Mhm.
Talking about the playground park.
I was talking about, yeah, playground equipment in general, the upgrading picnic tables, you know, was the one we had talked about kind of.
at River Park, have all of the flood not mitigation, but remediation, or I don't know, the funds that were available for flood recovery in that park, have they
Right.
all been dealt with, or does that include the border of the playground?
Well, they have not been dealt with yet.
Okay.
Right now, we found out a couple months ago that FEMA was not going to cover So what we're asking for is state money, and the state money, when we get a quote, we'll go up for quotes to take care of the damage that was done at River Park. We also have some damage done over at Garden Park. Alice Park had the trail going down, and also along the river, some excavation or erosion on the riverbank. So we'll get quotes for those, and that it costs the city 75% of that. No, I'm sorry. The state will pay 75% of that, the city will pay 25% of that, so we have to cover those costs. And we don't have those estimates yet, and Joe is working on putting together estimates to go out to get quotes for those projects, so. So yeah, there's a lot of sand to remove, and I don't know if that includes the border or not. If it's like the border we put over Riverwood Hills, it's a plastic border in sections versus the timber, so I think that's probably what they would
Does that still
do.
look pretty good?
Pardon me?
Does that still look pretty good, that plastic border? Yeah.
It's molded plastic and about 6-foot pieces all pinned together type thing. So
What kind of FEMA work would have been needed at Garden Park?
let's help out a trail. I'm not sure exactly, but there was some flood damage there, I guess.
Okay, so there was probably erosion along the shore.
Could be,
Okay.
I just don't know the details, but.
So
I
that's
thought that-
something
I
that's
thought that
still
was
in
mentioned as
process.
having damage, but
Okay. So that's something that is
should be
in
done this
process?
summer.
Okay. The cost estimates would be this summer or some work
Well,
to fix
hopefully the
it?
project all done is
Right.
we go out for bids and get everything done behind us, so.
Okay. So that's flood work.
Looks like Joy has her hand up. Joy, you have your hand up for something?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I'm not part of your committee. So that's why I'm not just jumping in, I'm listening. But I wanted to mention where you have all this discussion about equipment and the picnic tables for the flood damage. Has anybody gone up to Pine Island and looked at their park that's right by the trail and right by the river that gets flooded? Because they have some really unique cement structures for benches and picnic tables that I think if you have time to take a look at that, there might be an additional cost, I'm sure, but maybe it'll prevent having to replace many structures. So that's just my comment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joy.
One comment about the picnic tables, Kane has been replacing the wood tables, 10 tables each year. There's about 30 some tables. I know he's continuously been doing this. This must be the 3rd year, but he is getting rid of the wood ones and going with the steel ones. So, and I don't know if those have been ordered for this year yet or not, but that's in his budget to replace. Right now, we're just having to restain every wood table. That's very time consuming, so.
You don't have SDS crews like you used to, I would imagine.
Well, they're still available. It's just.
Yeah, you have to get them on the calendar.
There's a lot of need for us, so yeah. One thing I'm just throw up for consideration is that we talked about the funding for trail paving, but I'm not sure if it's maybe in the 2028, but I think it would be good to start thinking about striping bike trails. We talked about trails along Lake Shady frontage road. It's a 6-foot shoulder on either side. And that 6-foot shoulder goes all the way up to Highway 5, which then you can get on the trail, and then it goes down to the new school, elementary school. So, but, it takes money to do that between Orinoco and Pine Island, and there may be some school funding too that could help support that. But I do think within the city, it'd be nice to have some bike trails striped along Lake Shady Avenue, so for people and for motorists know that there's people on those bike trails too. Because once we work on Lake Shady, which I think should be considered in your 3-year plan, or at least when we start looking at updating the lake bed, that will be access to the river or to the park. And also maybe in a 5-year, looking at a bridge across the northern Zumbro River too. And trails and gazebo, those things that are mentioned out on our master plan is something to consider or not forget about.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so. I listened to last month's meeting today, and they talked about Carroll County Park and how someone is actually using the disc golf there often, so that is great. And I don't think there's been any need to change anything up there, like replace anything at this time. And let's see. And then Alice Park, we're excited about the garlic mustard that was removed. I don't know that. Yes, we don't have the community center written on here as one of the parks. My thought on the community center. You mentioned how you can bring your net. It just wouldn't have lines. I don't know, like this gets used for basketball. But other than that, it's kind of quiet over there, but you really wouldn't. I mean, could we put, I think I wanna ask Kane, and I don't know though, if you can put any pickleball lines out there and then just have people bring their nets. I don't know.
The direction I think might pose a challenge with hitting pickleballs into the streets.
Okay,
Without,
so,
I think it would take a significant amount more of infrastructure than just putting nets up
that's fair.
without causing too much of a legal headache for someone chasing a pickleball in the street.
That is fair. Can you guys tell me, when I was listening to that, they were talking about a soccer net that was causing trouble.
Oh,
Where is
one
that?
of my neighbors said that there apparently was some soccer nets up in Memorial Field and
Okay,
a
so
couple times they
Memorial Field,
flew over.
because I can see there's some nets here,
Okay, he said Memorial
but
Park.
Memorial Park had trouble with
But he-
some soccer nets?
He said
Okay.
they had blown over and he said he could get them up, no problem, but he's just wondering if there was kids out there playing, if they were blown over, it might be hard for the kids to get them back over.
Well, wouldn't we be more concerned about them hitting the children?
Sure. They're fast, they're flexible, be all right.
I know. Okay. All right, so I can check on that too. All right. Is there anything else that anyone would like to visit about this evening? I do still think we need to focus on that amazing list that Kane provided. I do think we still need to support him in a way to get less mowing necessary, and I don't know what has to happen, for that, but all the parks don't have to be mowed as much as they are. How has Rochester approached that?
The last time I was involved with them, they had just let some grass grow, which is not the same as, that you end up not with a good outcome, and a lot of people complained. If you want to not mow, it's better to put in plants that are like a native, either a single species, which looks tidier. I'm not sure what if there's resistance, and it may be aesthetic, but often like prairies look messy in a city, and they did have an issue around Silver Lake where whoever put that, I'll call it a prairie patch around Silver Lake to keep the geese off, also put in compass plant, which is a wonderful native plant, but in the winter it is ugly as heck.
Oh.
And it stays, looks like Halloween all winter. And so people hated that.
They didn't like the
And
compass
that-
plant, huh?
That program or that project might have gone better. When I left Rochester, they were talking about just mowing it down and putting in grass, well, then you're gonna get the geese back. But I think it might have worked better, whoever put that in didn't use compass plant. Because then you wouldn't have these really, horrible looking. I've seen up at, the new stadium in St. Paul, which is along Hamlin and University. Nobody can help me out with the name of the new stadium or new ring.
Alliance.
Thank you.
Just
Yes, thank you. It's a brand new, not really stadium.
It's a structure. It's a sporting structure.
So outside that, what I thought was great was they've got I'm gonna call very aesthetic looking bands of, I'm gonna say switchgrass. It was some tall grass and only switchgrass, and then like regular grass and then switchgrass and then regular grass. And it was very elegant. I'd like to talk to them and like who, I'm sure they have a landscape architect who designed that. But I could see that working here, like a single species, like bands, and it wouldn't look like a messy prairie in town. But I mean, I think that'd be a great way to have less mowing and also have it look like, okay, we're civilized here.
Right, exactly.
And if, it's seeing that at Alliance, I'm guessing whoever did that landscape, but I mean, I don't think we should hire anyone. We should just copy or steal or, be inspired
Inspiration.
by, what did you say?
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Inspiration. That wording.
Take pictures and think this looks good here, here and here. And you can always, I mean, if it doesn't work, mow it over and then whatever. But it would be great to try. And maybe we could like next year try like a patch somewhere.
At Garden Park, maybe.
Yeah.
At Garden Park, maybe we could try
I
some
mean, if this,
single species
if the park,
something.
if they would like to rent 2 lots, we could try out 2 lots of some single species, see what it looks like.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know what, if there's hesitation, what's the hesitation to start that at some point?
Right, well, it would be a matter of tilling it at the right time and putting the seed
Doesn't need to
species
be
in.
tilled.
That doesn't need to be tilled. How do you take a grassy area and change it?
You would either through smothering with black plastic or cardboard or using glyphosate, kill the grass. And then throw grass seed on, whatever preferred.
Solarization, is that?
Yeah, like stuff like, you can do it with black plastic, you can do it with clear plastic or cardboard. You can either make it too hot with black plastic, make it too hard with clear plastic, or cover it with cardboard where it doesn't get sunlight. I mean, grass that we mow needs sunlight. So you can kill it naturally or kill it with glyphosate, which is known to cause cancer. So I like the cardboard or the.
Yeah, I like the.
And then you put in whatever, whether it's,
Do you do that for 2 months? 2 weeks?
you just, after you seed it, you just keep an eye on it and if other, that native grass seed doesn't need to go through any kind of stratification. So it can, once it hits sunlight with the soil underneath it, it's like, I'm ready to go and they grow.
How long do you have to cover up the grass though?
Probably like 2 months.
2 months, that's what I thought.
Have you done this? I mean, it sounds.
Solarization, well, not intentionally, but I've had, kids leave one of those blue plastic pools upside down in the backyard. The wind catches it. 5 days later, you lift it up and that grass is just yellow. So familiar with the concept, and I've looked it up.
And you'd want to leave it longer than 5 days because the grass can recover from that.
Well, yes.
But that is not pretty for 2 months, So, but it's a good way to get rid of the grass.
Regarding the mowing, at our budget discussions last year with Public Works, we did talk about hiring seasonal employees. And he chose, it was his direction that with the seasonal players, it was great, they mowed a lot. But he chose not to hire part-time seasonal people. But he has scheduled mowing time every week with each of his 3 employees. So you probably see they're doing mowing less, but they are mowing, so, instead of something being mowed every week, it may be every 10 days or something like that, but those mowing times are being scheduled with the 3 employees that he does have, so it's just taking a little bit longer to get them, they're not done every week.
So don't
But they
complain
could with
about,
seasonal employees, but, so that's why they're not mowing along the township road from Gas and Go and several other areas, or it's down by Northwood, the triangle there by across the street from Northwood Builders by behind Ross Parker's place before Two Sisters. They mowed that for the first time this year. So it's just, it'll get mowed. It's just not often as it used to be mowed. So
do you think people will complain about the longer grass?
I haven't heard anything, but they don't necessarily need to call me. They can call Kane or Public or City Hall.
Right?
The problem is,
Has anybody heard? I haven't heard.
when they were just letting the grass grow tall, people complained about the long grass, and then, I don't think it was handled very directly, and I know that's a different, what you're saying is there's just like twice a month mowing instead of monthly mowing.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Okay. Fencing might take place along Highway 52 this fall through MinDOT.
That-
The fencing
Oh, yeah,
might
that's
happen.
right.
And then-
I have no update there though.
I apologize, because guess what? The water trail, Zumber, how do I say it?
Rumble River Regional Water Trail,
That. What was your May 8th meeting?
it went great.
Good.
So we had a meeting with the Watershed Alliance Policy Committee for Zumbro Watershed. And with the new structure that came in when they abolished the formal Zumbro Watershed Partnership, and they became a part of one plan, one river. It's a state operated. So they're part of that now, but it's still, they have this policy committee and it kind of, there's 10 people on the board that made mostly up of soil water conservation board people, city administrator, commissioners, county commissioners. And so they kind of set the policy, but they also have a planning group that supports this policy committee. So all of the programs that you see on farmlands, whether it's irrigation or restoration of streams, or not streams, but farm fields, that type of thing, monitoring sewage treatment facilities within dairy farms, that type of thing. It all has to come through this committee. So I made a presentation to them, and what we were asking, so I gave them an overview of the River Regional Water Trail project, our plan, and what we want to do. And but we need a governing board. And there's a couple different ways we could have done it with a joint powers board with the 4 different counties and representation from the cities that we ultimately will choose for the strategic locations, anywhere from 8 to 10 maybe, that hasn't been finalized. But so we gave a presentation, shared with them what our plan was. And the idea was to informally update them, but then also just say, in my presentation, we just want to approach you if you would consider being our advisory board. So I gave my presentation and there's very good discussion, a lot of questions back and forth, a couple naysayers, and that's okay. That's makes for a good discussion. But as it turns out, one of the gentlemen said, one of the commissioners says, is it okay if we make a motion? So he said, I make a motion that we provide the advisory group over this Zumbro River Regional Water Trail. And it was raised unanimous, it was passed unanimously. And so that's our first step towards an organization, which is great. And that's something we needed. And so that's one check off our list of things to do. So the next thing is to put together a joint powers agreement. We've approached the Olmsted County senior attorney to see if he would do it pro bono for us. And he's really busy now with cannabis ordinances and things like that, but he hasn't said no yet, but I haven't heard yes either. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I think we have a stakeholders meeting coming up here in June sometime. I don't remember the exact date. So it's still progressing a little bit. We're also doing a SEH is the engineering company that's doing the technical work for us. They put together, in the process, put together an interactive map showing where all the different 40-some locations are. And you can provide comments on that, and we'll be putting that out hopefully sometime in early June. So
Okay.
we're still continuing to get interest, public interest, feedback, which is what we need. So
Is there a website that talks about all of this project or not right now?
it's Orinoco River,
Zumbro River?
ZumbroRiver.org. I
Okay.
think that's the current one. Double check there. I was looking at it the other day.
Great. Because that Watershed Alliance is probably in the cities, isn't it?
What?
The Watershed Alliance, where's that?
Oh, it's local people from the 4 counties.
Watershed Alliance?
Yes, it's a local alliance company, committee,
Committee. The Watershed Alliance Committee.
Right.
Is it
policy committee, Watershed Alliance Policy Committee.
Zumbro Watershed Alliance Policy Committee?
Just,
No.
you go to Olmsted County Soil Conservation Board and put in watershed, WAGZ. That's what they go by
AGZ.
to, is Watershed Alliance Policy Committee.
Okay.
As their
Okay. Right. Waiting for him to find the zumbroriver.org.
Yes, Zumbro River Regional Water Trail. www.zumbroriver.org. It's the website we've had up for about 4 or 5 years. Photos. Sign up for details.
Great.
Sometimes there's a survey there, which I don't think it's inactive. It's active, but
Okay.
And that's Wabasha, Goodhue, Olmsted, and
Right.
oh, Dodge and Goodhue.
Dodge.
All right, well, I make a motion to adjourn before it rains on us. But if anyone has anything else they would like to discuss quick before we go.
It's great to see the Zumbro River project go along and get the
Yes.
green lights and checking things off. It's great to see the progress in the Zumbro River.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's-
and that there's unanimous agreement on forming the committee, you know, it is, that shows a lot of support.
Yeah, it's.
And I would
I
also.
wasn't expecting it, really. I was really
No?
taken back by it, but yeah, they
Oh, good.
really well supported, so.
Yeah.
I envision being, okay, we'll take a look, give it some thought, and we'll talk about it 3 months from now, because that's, we meet quarterly.
Fantastic.
Second. Adjourn.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. All right, we adjourn at 8:15. I like it. All right. Thank you for attending. Thank you for being here. Oh, wait, that's right. Guys, hang on a second. Who can come July 7? Raise your hand.
I can.
I know. Yeah, who's gonna be able to come July 7?
Solid numbers.
Solid no for you. That's fair. I'm a maybe.
Solid maybe.
You're a solid maybe.
Solid maybe.
It's entirely possible.
I think I will, but I'm not sure.
I love it. All right, then we'll play it by ear. Okay. Sarah, thanks for putting the chair away. Thank you, Ron.
We'll try to get the minutes done when I watch the video.
Oh.
Pushing it.